Thank you all for joining today. This is the After Dark 2024 Virtual Awards Ceremony. You're joined today by myself. I'm Amani Freeman, the Exhibitions Manager for the Maryland Federation of Art. We're joined today by Juliana Oakes, who's going to be running point from Circle Gallery. And let's talk a bit about what the Maryland Federation of Art does. So MFA is a visual nonprofit organization that hosts more than 40 exhibitions every year. Our mission is to make connections in the local and online communities through art, with exhibits and events in Circle Gallery in Annapolis, Maryland, online, and in numerous alternative venues. We provide artists of all genres, medias, and backgrounds with the opportunity to exhibit works selected by professionally credentialed jurors and to be recognized with monetary awards. Artists do not have to be members to enter our exhibitions. However, members do have several advantages, such as lesser entry fees, access to networking and additional exhibition opportunities. And if you're interested in learning more about becoming a member, please visit our membership page found on our website. So a bit of, just to preface, the exhibition itself was After Dark 2024, and we invited all artists residing in any of the states and or territories of the US, Canada, and Mexico to enter this exhibition. Any original two-dimensional or three-dimensional work was considered by our juror. And our juror today is Miss Crista Pisano. She's a professional artist and plein air painter. She's originally from northern New Jersey and started her artistic journey in 1989 studying under John Philip Osborne at the Ridgewood Art Institute. She holds a BFA from Lime Academy College of Fine Arts, and an MFA from the New York Academy Graduate School of Figurative Art. Crista specializes in small-scale landscape paintings, often working in plein air in and around Nyack, New York. She draws inspiration from the Hudson River School and the Italian Macchioli, admiring artists like George Inness, Corot, and Martin Johnson Heed. Crista has exhibited widely across New England and New York, participating in numerous plein air events and earning awards such as Best in Show at the Adirondack Plein Air Festival and honorable mention at Plein Air Easton. And now we're going to hear from Ms. Pisano as she opens us up.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I want to just thank the Maryland Federation of Art for inviting me to jury this exhibition. And thank you to all the artists that entered the show and created artwork for a show that has a theme like this. It's really hard to jury anything. I had 307 entries and I had to get it down to 65. So that is, here's like my notes. I mean, it's just a lot of, here's how I'm counting. I was laughing, my boyfriend was laughing at my little tick marks. It's a lot of going, back and forth to images, and it's a lot of work. So if you did not get in, just keep applying to shows, and I do that. I get rejected from the best shows and get in the best shows. So just keep going, because there was a lot of good work in this show. So when I first looked at the work, I have them on the screen just to tell you a little bit about how it works. And you have all these images, and I just kept flipping through them and see what sticks out in my mind. And then I go back in and I start evaluating things on, number one, the theme. We did have a theme of after dark. So what I did was look up what after dark means. And a lot of the definitions I found, came up with when sun has set and dark has begun. And night is associated with darkness. So that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. I myself, who paint mostly nocturne paintings, and I have in my mind what night is. Night is solitude and quiet and dark and, time to think. And when I started looking at what you all gave me, it gave me a different viewpoint of, well, after dark means things to many people. Different things that I may not have thought of, such as it's scary, it can be peaceful, it can mean getting together, being all together at night, celebrating something, or mourning a loss of, it was Day of the Dead yesterday, so I'm wearing butterflies in my hair. It's you know, Day of the Dead is a holiday where they celebrate people who have passed and sometimes spend night at the graveside of their loved ones. It could be people, nighttime can bring despair. It could bring, you know, the hope of a new day if you're having a hard time. People start work at night and then they go home to families. It's just a lot of different things that when I'm out there painting, what it put things into my head. You all taught me, is what I'm trying to say. And it was really nice to see a different side of dark and creating at night. So there were some things I was definitely looking for to, you know, stay within the theme and also look at, you know, technical things, composition, color, subject matter, you know, how I love the idea of there is a certain type of air at night, whether you're in a smoky bar room or outside in the humidity on a summer night, or, you know, a restaurant at a romantic dinner with, you know, the smell of food, or, you know, your own household and the peacefulness that comes with it. So that being said, I narrowed it down to what we have. So I hope the show, if you get a chance to come look at the show, please do. That's another thing I did want to say is I did choose I made my choices when they were given to me through your entries, and I did visit the gallery and make my final decisions in person, because there are so many different mediums in this exhibition. There's sculpture, there's you know, object making, there's photography, painting, encaustic. There's just all these, and I thought it was really important to do that. I didn't know how I could quite choose the awards with such different varied mediums. So our first honorable mention, there's 4 honorable mentions, and we have a first, second, third place. And this goes to Marisa Evangelista, and it's called The Other Side. And this is another one you have to see in person. I did not, you know, you look at, when I first saw this image on the screen, I thought it was, you know, this big, and it is 4 inches by 6 inches, little thing. And this is an example of that feeling of being scared or mystery. Initially, it makes me uncomfortable. And she's got this, she puts herself the figure is right in the middle of the picture plane, and then she's going away from something, and you have the sun on the left setting, and it's the hand. When you see this hand in person, it's just the way it's clutching her, and the look of her going into this darkness is quite beautifully painted as well. And if you get a chance, please go see it, because the picture does not do it justice. So congratulations, Marisa. The second honorable mention is Sharon B. Fuller. And this piece is watercolor on gold metallic acrylic ground on wood. And another one you really have to see in person. It first of all struck me, it reminded me of Mondrian painting, early Mondrian landscape paintings are very different from what we all know of the grids with the, the orange, the primary color grids and whatever. But it also, almost the way that it is painted on this gold looked almost like a silk, like it was painted on silk. And it has this, especially in the sky, it almost looks like silk or linen, how the paint is applied onto the wood there. And because of the gold underneath, the glow is beautiful. But I just really liked the idea of like what's going on in that little village that's far away also. There was just a nice feeling of wanting to be in there. So congratulations, Sharon. And the third honorable mention is David Mann for Ghost Ship. And you guys really brought the titles, I tell you, because and sometimes the titles, that's another thing that I should say, when I hear all the time with the events, that the competitions that I participate in, judges are always talking about the titles. Really be aware of your titles. Sometimes I think we get lazy on the titles and just, it's an afterthought, but you all really did bring the titles. Some made me laugh and some really described the piece further. And this is one I didn't look at the title right away. It's also blind judging, so I don't see who does them or whatever. But it had this sense of mystery, and I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at. I'm like, are they people? Is it a seance? Is it something sinking into the earth? And it doesn't really matter. The movement of the circular movement in the middle and the darkness off to the right and that little thing sticking up on the left hand corner there. Another one that kind of made me uncomfortable, and I kind of liked it. And I don't know why it made me uncomfortable, but it really, to me, made me feel like night and the mystery of after dark. So congratulations, David. It's beautiful. And the fourth honorable mention is K.G. Rickman, and this is called At Rest. Another one you have to see in person. The photo doesn't do it justice at all. The colors in person are really, they're really rich and deep, and the texture, and it is, I mean, I don't even know what's in it. There's netting in the background, in the sky, above where the waist is in the figure. There's all these things coming up, and the way that the netting is layered there, it almost feels like humidity or smoke, or I don't quite know, but the way that the lace is cut and everything is, the way the folds in the dress or the pants or whatever is so precise, and it's done so well. I made German Victorian Christmas ornaments for 15 years of my life, and it was a very high-end company where of craft making, and to do what she has done here, to fit in all these little pieces right where they should be, is really difficult to do, and it's done so well. But you really, and just on just even the composition and the movement, when you see this in person, it's, it almost feels like levels of earth below her and the sky above, and the movement in it, it's a beautiful piece. And just the subject matter of rest, people have nightmares after dark, or they have beautiful dreams, and I would like to think that she was having a beautiful dream. So beautiful work. So congratulations. So this is the third place award, and it goes to Will Scott for Cleanup 3 a.m. So this is an image that came through it was the first day I got the show to look at. And this is an image that really stuck out right away to me. It just felt like, I know that place. Not that I know that place, but I've, walked out of a restaurant and been going to my car at night, or, a bar, after leaving the bar and going to my car at night or whatever, or looking around for a place to paint. And I passed this scene, and it was just so real. And again, the air felt, it felt like the night. And just the whole setup of the one figure, the composition of the one figure on the left, and there's someone off to the right you can hardly see. It could be a painting, I thought it was a painting at first. And the way, I'm not going to pretend to understand how all the filters work with photography or anything, but it really, aside from being a beautiful photo, and the way that the corners are addressed in the picture, and there's something going on in every little bit of this that moves you around the whole image, and the tone of it too. When you see it in person, again, it feels like the air, and just beautiful. It stuck out in my mind, and congratulations, Will. It's beautiful. And the second place goes to MD Long. And this is called Night House. And I did not look at the title of this piece till, I don't know, a couple times going through. And I remember initially looking at it saying, oh, I feel like I'm in a house. And then when I saw the title, it's like, oh, Night House. But it felt like I was, walking around at night, looking for a glass of water or something. But compositionally, and again, I keep saying, you have to see these pieces in person because the photos don't do them justice. But the way that the top left-hand corner, there's texture up there, almost like wood. The body, that you don't really get so much in the photograph of the piece here, but there's a sensitivity of the lines, and they're so precise, and I don't know how he did it. Every corner of the painting is addressed. There's something interesting going in every corner. The space that I see in this piece goes on forever. And when I was standing in front of it, I put my hands up to the blue in the bottom right-hand corner there, and I covered it. And when I covered that, it became a totally different piece, equally with, if not more depth than what I was seeing before. And I just couldn't stop looking at it. And I could go on, there's so much to talk about. Also, by the way, as I talk about the pieces, I guess there's going to be, you can ask questions after, or if you have comments, please feel free to help me out. But this is, it's a beautiful piece, and congratulations. I couldn't stop looking at it. And the first prize goes to Jennifer Hudson for Nightlights. And this is completely hand-cut paper. Again, as somebody who worked as a crafter, I have no idea how she does this. I don't want to do it. As somebody who also has made crafts, and I can't tell you how many times my boss had come in and said, we got this great idea, we're gonna do this, and I need and you're gonna do this, and now I got to make 40 of these things that I have to sit there and tiny cut and glue and not be able to see the glue. um, this piece, as well as the one before At Rest, I was talking about, I saw no glue or how they put these together. So that's number one, that my hat goes off to you. But the cutting of this paper, and not just that, let's talk about first the composition of the fox that moves, and that little tiny moon on the right side is perfectly placed, and she's got these stars and things in the background that are, I think, painted on with gold paint, and they're just perfect. Everything is perfectly placed. These little stars in the corners of the I'm pointing, by the way, because I'm I'm pointing to the screen as I the little stars in the corners of the paper there are just layers of cut paper. And not only that, again, in person, the way she has taken each layer and put spacers in between, so you get this depth. The there's a little gold line that goes all the way around the the gold line that goes all the way around the image there is really finely done. And it just, to me, it just really told the whole story of After Dark. Of all the things, you have the peacefulness of the night, you have the mystery of the night, you have an activity of this fox coming out at night, you have the moon, and it just is an exquisite piece of work. And you really should go see this in person. Even the way some of the leaves are bent, and I'm not sure if she meant to do that or not, but I'm sure she did. Some of the leaves are tiny bit bent in the image, and it really I think it was meant, but it really adds to the piece too. And it's just a beautiful piece of work. So congratulations. And so congratulations to everybody, because it was a hard decision. And I hope I explained myself as good as I can. But please ask questions, or feel free to comment. And
Well, yeah, no, I think you did an exceptional job explaining, Ms. Pisano. I think anyone that listened to you can tell that you know your stuff, especially the technical terms, just how intuitive some of the works felt to you. So yeah, no, this is an overview of all the awards, first to third place, and all the honorable mentions, if anyone wants to go back over them. As she mentioned in the beginning, thank you to everyone who applied to this show. This is a small collage, not of all the works, but of some of the works that were in the show. So again, thank you all so much for applying. At this point, if any of the artists that are available here and available would like to ask any questions, statements, any comments, now is the time. I see we have some people in the chat. We have some award winners here. If you guys want to ask Miss Pisano a question about her decision, or anything.
could I also say something that
Oh, of course.
it's really hard to talk about artwork when it's not in front of you. So I feel like I definitely, I could go on about all the paintings and the painting artwork in the show, but it really is, it was killing me not to have the piece in front of me. So I apologize if I'm pointing or doing whatever I was doing here, but yeah, so if there are any other questions, I'd be glad to ask or answer.
I just want to say, first of all, thanks to Crista for including me to begin with, and thanks again for giving me this award. And I just want to share with everybody that I've gotten to know Crista a little bit through Paint Annapolis the last few years. She's been juried in, and I've been a judge a time or two and awarded her prizes, and I appreciate the return favor. Of course, she didn't.
Will, I didn't even.
I know. I'm just
It's
teasing
like
now. I'm just
I was
teasing now.
I was wondering if you were gonna submit, and then you know, when that came through, I was like, that's Will.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
Well,
is fun, you know?
yeah, it is fun. But what I wanted to share with everybody, more than the thank yous to you, Krista, is that when you described why you picked my work and how it resonated with you from the first time that you glanced through the images, um, I don't know about the others. I suspect most of the others, if not all, feel the same way. When somebody else sees your work and then it resonates with them and it sticks with them in this way, that's what you're really, at least that's what I'm after. I can do something technically that's pretty good and all of that, but it's that connection and that resonance that's the real reason that I make art. So again, thanks very much, Krista. Hope to see you at next year's Paint Annapolis.
Thank you. Can I ask, where is that?
You know what? I knew you would ask that if we had this back and forth, or somebody would ask it. And so I went through all my photo files, and I had a disaster about a year ago where I lost about 20,000 source files. And so I've been trying to put my catalog back together. And sometimes when you do that, you bring things together, but it disconnects them from the metadata. And you're lucky you just get an image that you can continue to work with. So I've lost the original file, and I can't tell you. All I can tell you, it was 2014, and I was only doing this a few minutes ago, so I didn't have a chance to go and ask my wife, where did we go in 2014? But the most universal answer I can give is, like a lot of photographers, I try to have a camera with me all the time. And I like this kind of thing. You look down an alleyway and you see something happening. And these people make our lives easier and more enjoyable because they do all this hard work. So it just layered into a whole lot of things that interest me and I want to capture through my photography.
Well, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful photo, and beautiful image. And you know, you kind of hit on that. It's, as I'm walking home from, a restaurant, these guys are out here working. It's just, just because it's dark doesn't mean activities stop. And it's just really interesting to see it through other people's eyes.
Yep.
So that was cool. It's a beautiful photo.
Thanks.
Thank you for that dialogue, Will, and for sharing some insight into the piece and what made it and your inspiration behind capturing the photo. So yeah, if anyone, I see we have a few award winners in here aside from Mr. Scott. You can drop a note in the chat if you don't want to unmute your mic. It can be a comment, it can be a question, but now yeah, I see Miss Rickman raised her hand. Please feel free to unmute or drop in the chat.
I just wanted to say, Krista, you read my layers really well. And this was actually part of a series of, I liked the idea that the figure is kind of, I liked to being cradled by the earth and and the definitely thinking of layers of earth below her and kind of being one with it. And yeah, just kind of thinking of a restorative rest. And then the lights coming in, so kind of getting ready to wake up.
How do you even start with, like, is it a painting underneath first? Or, I mean, it's really, I looked at it and tried to figure out how you put it all together.
I drew it, the paper, the celestial part in the back is printed paper that I purchased. Everything else is fabric. I kind of had a rough sketch and I this was really intuitive. I had been thinking about images of Mother Earth resting kind of under the snow, kind of under layers of snow. And just this whole idea of fallow periods in life where we're really resting and reconnecting and kind of rebuilding. So I liked that idea. And then I didn't really have a plan beyond that. I put the paper down first and everything else just kind of evolved.
Well, it's amazing because the paper, like, if you told me that was paper, I wouldn't believe you, because it looks painted, like with the layers you have over it.
Mm-hmm.
It was another one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to make that. I worked in a world where I'm like, I want to make things, and I'm like, I don't want to do that because it's just so labor intensive, and it, I think to take something, one to take paper and layer things on it and make it not look like paper is pretty interesting. And you have to, a lot of probably trial and error. Like, I don't even know how you had things glued on it. I mean, it really was, and the cutting out of, I mean, I really looked up along her leg and her hip, like how it all was cut out and placed is really hard to do. And like, someone might think you just, cut something and shove it on there, but there's no wrinkles in it, and the way it goes is really, it's just a really hard thing to do. And it's I think sometimes overlooked by those who haven't made things like that. And
Thank you.
I really liked the like at the waist. I don't know how you did that, like, where it looks three-dimensional above her with, it looked like there was air in there. It was very, very interesting. And the colors are beautiful. The colors don't do, I think anything dark is hard to photograph.
Mhm. Thank you.
Not a
You
photographer,
really got it.
you should say. My nocturnes are very dark, and I recently entered a show that I knew the juror, and he had called me and said, I know your work, but the photographs you're submitting are awful. And I was like, oh, which is a good, it's kind of good to, like, hear that and know that, but it's really hard to photograph dark colors for, show to enter into shows, or I find it hard to do. I know the Maryland Federation of Art has gotten some awful photos of me that I've had to submit at Paint Annapolis also, where it does not, I'm like, this is not representative of what I painted. But so you really, if anyone's around, they really should come look and see it in person.
Yeah, and I agree with Ms. Pisano. One thing that I think, given my position, you can see a work in a photograph online, and then it comes into the gallery, and you at times have question, is that the same work? And it's no bad mark on the person taking the photograph. It just looks different in person. I think it always does, which is one reason I'm really grateful that you were able to come down and jury the show in person. So you really got the full sense of the work, whether it be the dimensions, the texture of the work, just things that you miss out on in a photograph.
Well, and as somebody like me who paints on a small scale, it's always, I always kind of get a reminder when I jury a show, that what my work must look like on a screen versus when it's seen in person, because my paintings are this small. This is what I'm working on here, and it's sometimes I see it on the screen and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look anything like what it is in person. And then when you see it, the scale, a scale on the computer versus scale on the wall are, and I definitely experienced that when I had the sizes of the pieces in front of me when I was going through all the images and stuff, but still to see it in person in the gallery at the scale that it is really something. It's just a good reminder of, I deal with scale, keep it in mind when I enter shows.
Yeah, yeah, no. Well, I think if anyone else would like to well, actually, I have a comment from Marisa. She's unable to hop on voice right now, but she just wanted to let everyone know that people that were coming into the gallery yesterday were just commenting on how well put together the show is and the work. especially the selection. They said it was diverse and it definitely stuck to the theme. Um, so I mean, Marisa, she's worked for the Maryland Federation of Art for years now, and she's worked closely with a lot of you. Um, and yeah, no, she's a good resource, and definitely her praise, saying, thank you to the fellow artists for sharing your special talent is a high praise because she herself is very talented. So yeah,
I,
but
I, I think I also should say, to go on what Marissa said, something else I just want to, make clear that just because there's a theme doesn't mean I went and chose, just, well, this is the theme and it's all got to stick into the theme. But, when you do have a show that has, a title of After Dark, um, you sometimes you have to look at, you know, you are putting together a show, you're putting together the show of, what you're choosing as the exceptional of exceptional. I mean, which is really hard. You have good work and you have to get rid of good work. And, um, it's really hard to do that. I remember making the decisions and messaging Amani, and I said, does it look good? Because I couldn't see it all together in one piece, and I'm like, it looks like a cohesive show, and he says it looks like a very cohesive show, and it's really because you all gave me such good work, so you should all be proud of yourselves, and um, this is really fun to do.
I'm glad you found the experience enjoyable. It was definitely a joy to work with you throughout the whole process. You were very communicative, very professional, just a fun person to work with, and I'm glad that you got to jury the show, given your expertise. So Ms. Hudson said thank you to the juror. She's very grateful for her award selection. She dropped that in the chat, so I'm just going to pass that along to everyone. But I think at this point, if there's no other questions or comments, we're about ready to close out. Oh, go ahead, please.
This is Sharon Fuller. I just wanted to say thank you to the juror and for your thoughtful comments on my piece, which was the Bellagio Shining. That is a view from a ferry approaching the town of Bellagio in Italy. So it was a special night, a special time that I remembered, but also it was a challenge to paint on the gold. And so I appreciate that you were able to see what I was getting at.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I didn't look at it and I'm like, oh, that's gold. It's because I think painting on gold could go wrong so quickly. But what's so nice is that, even I think I was walking around the gallery with Amani and I said, is that painted on gold? And I must have read it, or just read gold or whatever, and it's just really, I'm like, it's actually painted on gold. And I don't know how you did it, but it looks like it was difficult to adhere to, or
Yeah, it's called gold metallic watercolor ground. So it's a material specifically for painting watercolor on. But it not only is it challenging because it changes the colors, because watercolor is mostly translucent. And so you really have to be careful how the colors react with the gold under it. But also it doesn't photograph that well because metallic tends to dull, when you photograph it. So anyway, just a few technical things, but thank you so much.
I really like the sky though, it looks like linen almost, or like screen, the way it's, when you look at it up close painted, it's really, really beautiful. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much for your comments, Ms. Fuller, and Ms. Pisano for your response. Well, I think at this point we're going to close out everyone. I just want to, on behalf of myself and the Maryland Federation of Art, thank everyone so much for taking your time, effort, of course, resources to submit to this show and to all our shows. Like Ms. Pisano said, and like Marisa mentioned as well, I think the show came together really well. Given that it was a first time exhibition, we've never done this before, it's the first time this year. I think the artists all handled it very well in terms of their submissions and really making the show as robust as we could. To the artists that maybe didn't get in or didn't win an award, like Ms. Pisano said, she had to pick from the exceptional of the exceptional. So don't take it as a mark of discouragement that you didn't get in. We have, like I mentioned at the beginning, over 40 exhibitions a year. So just keep an eye out for our next opportunity that might suit you. And you never know, you'll get in eventually if you keep on trying. And yeah, no, I think that's all. Ms. Pisano, if you have anything to say in closing, that'd be the time.
No, but I'll read the Van Gogh quote, which I think, sums it all up, which is, I think the night is more alive and more richly colored than the day. And I think that kind of sums it all up.
Yeah, I think so. Well, all right. Thank you all again. Ms. Pisano, it's been a pleasure working with you. I'm very grateful that you came down to the gallery. It took the time out of your day to come see the works and choose the awards. But yeah, I think that's all for today. As always, these will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you want to watch it back, if you want to share it with your friends, your family, it will be there. Say by the end of the week, it should be there. Just check our website. And I think that is all for today. So thank you all again for joining. And I hope to see you all soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Hi, thank you all.
Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your Sunday.